Hey guys, Mr. Graves here. I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm here with a video about showing you guys about the discriminant. In fact, let me actually go ahead and circle that here. So when I say the discriminant, I'm not talking about obviously discriminating against somebody. I'm talking about when you're using this formula right here, b squared minus 4ac. And a little FYI, we get this right here as a circle from something called the quadratic formula. Right? So for those of us who know about quadratic functions, is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, right? Divided by 2a. So we get this guy here. I'm going to circle it in red. We get this guy from over here. So this gives us three things, right? We have to know these three rules of the discriminant, and they're here in red. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and circle the first one, and if I'm going to do them in different colors, so obviously, so you guys can follow along. So the first one I'm going to do in red is if the discriminant is less than zero. I'm sorry, yeah, it's less than zero. So if it's less than zero, you're going to have no solutions, right? So you're going to have no solution. If it's less than zero, that means obviously if it's negative, you're going to have no solution. Okay, so if your solution is negative, that means that you're basically not going to touch anywhere on this x-axis I have underlined in red. Then we're going to go and move to the other guy here in blue, my favorite color. So this is if your discriminant is actually equal to zero. So if it's equal to zero, you have only one solution right here. So you have one solution if it equals zero. And then the last one is if your discriminant is greater than zero, that means you're going to have two solutions right here, right here. I'm sorry about my handwriting. So it's obviously positive. If it's greater than zero, that means it's positive. So all this really does is it confirms that we did our work correctly when we're trying to do the find out the solutions to a quadratic equation. So I'm actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve any of these two problems I have on the left side. And with that, I'm going to show you how the discriminant essentially lets you determine what kind of still anyways, what kind of solution do you have? Do you have no solutions, right? Do you have oops, do you have no solutions? Do you have one solution or do you have two solutions? Okay, so let me see if I can get my eraser to actually do its job. All right, perfect. So I'm going to do the first one here in black. So this first one here, I have A is equal to 6, B is equal to negative 2, and C is going to equal negative 3. I'm going to use my discriminant formula right here. So it's b squared minus 4ac. So I'm plugging my numbers. Usually when I plug in my numbers, I make sure I put them in parentheses. 4 times 6 times negative 3. Now, for those of us who are wondering where did I get ABC from, I get it from this, right? AX squared plus or minus BX plus or minus C, right? I get it from here. Okay. So I'm going to do my math to figure out my discriminant. So negative 2 to the second power is 4. 4 times 4 times 6 is 24. And 24 times 3 is going to be 72. So remember, two positives make two negatives make a positive, right? So negative 24 times negative 3 is positive 72. So since my discriminant is equal to 76, right? And I know 76 is greater than 0. So that means my discriminant is going to have two solutions. Now that's all well and dandy, but of course I have to be able to prove what those two solutions are, right? So if I cannot actually use the quadratic formula to prove these are I do have two solutions of real numbers, this is irrelevant. So I'm going to erase because right now space is always. So I'm going to erase this guy here. All right. I'm just going to write that the discriminant is equal to 76. I'm just expect to have two solutions, right? Just to know what the two solutions are. I'm going to use my quadratic formula. And that's going to be negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Plug everything in. Have negative parentheses negative 2 plus or minus square root of negative 2 squared minus 4 times 6 times negative 3, all divided by 2 times 6. There we go. Do my math, two negatives make a positive 2. So I have negative 2 second power is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. And 12 times 6 is 72. Over 12. So I'm going to have 2 plus or minus the square root of 76 over 12. Now, little FYI, right? If I want to break down, I'm going to actually do this in a whole different color. If I want to break down square root of 76 here, I can do that by doing, hey, okay, I can think mentally. 4, if I do 4 goes into 76, because I'm going to do perfect squares. 1 minus 4, 36. Okay, that's 9, that's 19. Good. So I'm going to have the square root of 4. So I'm the square root of 19, which is going to have 2 square root 19. So just like that, I've actually figured out the rest of my answer. So my solution here is going to be 2 plus or minus 2 root 19 over 16. Which I simplify that again. I'm simply just going to have, in fact, let me actually cancel these out so you can see them. This cancels out to be 8. So this is going to have root 19 over 8, plus or minus. And just like that, I do have my two solutions and I'm good. Okay, so that's how you can use the discriminant to check your solutions. I think that's pretty cool, honestly. If you guys have any questions, always let me know. It was so great to see all you guys, and the ones who watched the video, thank you. Please, if you love it, like and subscribe, and I'll see everyone later. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful day. Bye.